All right, the chapter 5 review from the book. We're going to go through this real quick. So starting with number 2, compare the following terms: an atom and a molecule. An atom is just one nucleus with protons and neutrons in it and electrons orbiting it. A molecule is 2 or more atoms. Okay? So we'll stay on A. Maybe I'll just say it this way. A molecule is 2 or more atoms combined. Letter B, compare an atom and an ion. An ion is a charged atom. Then letter C, a cation and an anion. I'm just going to say positive and negative ions. I'm not really going to get into cations and anions. We really have just mentioned them. I won't test you on them. Number 3, list several familiar transition metals and their uses. I'm not really going to get into their uses, but a couple you're familiar with: iron, copper, zinc, silver, gold. We could probably go on. Number 4, how's the periodic law demonstrated in the halogens? All have 7, I'm going to call it valence instead of outer shell. I can save some writing. 7 valence electrons and similar properties. And number 5, explain why the name semiconductors makes sense. They conduct electricity under certain conditions. Number 7, how did Mendeleev arrange atoms in the periodic table? He arranged them by letter A, atomic mass. So I'm going to move this up so we can see the rest of them. Number 8, which statement about atoms of elements in a group of the periodic table is true? That should be C. They have similar chemical properties. Number 9, the majority of elements in the periodic table are, I'd say the best answer here is conductors, because most of them are metals. Number 10, an atom of which of the following elements is unlikely to form a positively charged ion? That's got to be something on the right-hand side of the table. The only one over there is selenium. Selenium has 6 outer shell electrons, so it would gain 2 and have a negative charge. Number 11, which of the following statements about krypton is not true? If you look at the periodic table, that is its molar mass. That is the atomic number. It is a noble gas. The best answer is letter C. It has a tendency not to form ions because it's already chemically stable. Number 12, explain why magnesium forms ions that have the formula Mg+2, not Mg+ or Mg-. So I'm going to put 12 right here. Mg has 2 valence electrons to lose. If it loses those 2 electrons, it has a +2. When it loses those 2 electrons, it has a +2 charge. So it has to lose those 2 to become stable. Number 13, why did Mendeleev leave a few gaps in his periodic table? What eventually happened to these gaps? Well, he left gaps because no element known fit there. And the second part of that, what eventually happened? Well, new elements were discovered. Number 14, compare the meaning of period and group in terms of the periodic table. So let me move this up a little bit. Period is the row. Group is the column. Then it says the figure below shows a sodium atom and a chlorine atom. Use the figure to answer questions 15 and 16. So 15 says, what type of ions will sodium and chlorine each form? Explain. Well, sodium has one valence electron, so it's going to be a +1 ion. So I'm just going to put up here +1. The one electron is lost. And then chlorine has 7, so it's going to gain 1. So it's going to have a -1. It's going to form a -1 ion because it needs 1 electron. Number 16, sodium ions bond with chlorine ions to form table salt. Explain why 1 sodium ion bonds with 1 chlorine ion. I'm going to say +1 is canceled. By -1. So you only need 1 chlorine with 1 sodium to give you a neutral charge. So let's move over to the last question, number 26. '26 says the pie chart. The pie chart shows the elements in the Earth's crust. Examine the chart and then answer the questions. What's the most abundant element in the Earth's crust? It makes up 46.6% of everything. So that's oxygen. And then letter B, excluding the category other, what percentage of Earth's crust is alkali metals and what percentage is alkali earth? So I'm going to make a column here, A and AE for alkaline earth. So the alkali metals are potassium, which is 2.6%, and sodium, which is 2.8%, which if you add those together, it gives you, what, 5.4%. And then the alkali earth, we have 2.0% for magnesium, and then 3.6% for calcium, which gives you 5.6%. So about 11% of the Earth's crust is made out of these two groups of elements. Remember, we have a test in here on Monday or Tuesday next time you're in class, so make sure you take some time over this break and study.